Connection. That's what's on our agenda today. My name is Maren, and this is Q&A with Heart and Soul Dance. One of the hardest things for a ballroom teacher or a swing teacher or any kind of a couples dance teacher to teach is connection. How we communicate what the leader wants to the follower and what the follower is doing back to the leader. And yes, it is a two-way conversation. So, gosh, when I think about this subject, this whole world opens up to me. And it's not just a physical, when I think about this subject, my mind kind of goes and explodes. And there's so much that I want to address. I won't be able to address all of it in this one video. So what I'd love to start with is just the physical aspect of connecting. We will get to the philosophical and the mental and the emotional, and yes, there's all those aspects of connecting too, which is kind of exciting. For myself, this is my favorite part of partner dancing, and the main reason that I do partner dance and I don't just do line dance or some other kind of solo dancing, it is to connect to a partner, and it is what has fascinated me, and it just flips my switch. I love it. So I'm super excited to be working on this with you guys. Over the next year, we're going to be talking a lot about connection. I'm going to be introducing all different aspects of it. So, physical. We connect through our arms. So when I think about a ballroom frame, right? So my ballroom frame, my partner's in my frame. I think about a swing frame or a one-handed frame, whether it's swing or cha-cha or salsa, one-handed frame. I'm connected to my partner here. That means that I'm using my arms and he or she, like there's a two-way conversation happening between you and your partner, all happening through the physical of the arms. You're not verbally telling your partner what to do. You're physically doing it. So how do you do that and end up with not just, I know my part, you know your part, and we'll both do it together, but actually coming together as one unit and creating something more, art in motion, right? That's kind of the the goal, that moving target that we all as couples dancers are striving towards. So as we think about using our muscles, let's talk about using muscles. There's 3 different ways to engage muscles: concentric, isometric, and eccentric. What are they? Concentric is, I'm going to use a bicep curl as an example. So if I'm doing a bicep curl, as I pull my muscle in or tighten the muscle, it's called concentric. If I were to hold it there and clench, we experience that in dancing, don't we? That's called isometric. And as I lengthen the muscle and let the weight out, that's called eccentric. Most of the time when we're taught to dance, we're told, I need you to hold your frame. And we don't know what that means. And so we do our own interpretation of it and we connect. And you notice that what I did was I connected and I pulled my arm in. So I'm going to use swing for right now. As a follower in swing, I'm told to connect to my partner. I don't know what that means. So I'm told to be light. I love that one. Be light, but connect. So I take my hand or my arm and I pull it up and away to be light, and I pull it in to connect. My shoulders up, my biceps connected, it's engaged. To be honest, you actually have no connection right now. I know that's frustrating, and you've experienced it, because it's very, very hard to hear your partner, whether I'm the leader and I'm the one who's talking and I'm doing it from that position, or I'm the follower, the one who's listening, also talking, but we'll say listening for right now. it doesn't work. Because what happens is, if you think of this, it's my means of communication, it's my telephone line, right? If I were to put a bunch of static on a telephone line, it would be very hard to hear. Or if we're in modern days and pieces of the audio keep dropping out, it becomes very hard to know what your partner's saying. When you put either clenching, isometric, or pulling in, concentric, into your muscles, that's like dropping every, like 3 out of 4 words, because your partner won't be able to hear you, or you won't be able to hear your partner. It just doesn't work. So what are our options? I think 2 things. One, I think eccentrically. We'll talk about that. And 2, I think least. We'll also talk about that. So, eccentric. How do I connect eccentrically? Well, let's do this exercise together. I want you to take your arms and you're going to hug something. Instead of hugging it lightly, I want you to actually pull and engage your muscles so that you actually are trying to pull it in, right? You've just put a lot of tension into your body. I feel it up through my shoulders. I feel it through my arms. It's going to take a lot of energy for me to stay in this position. Oh my gosh, I'm exhausted. Now, if I do that same thing again and I try and hold it there, that's clenching, that's isometric. So now we've done concentric and isometric, and both of them are exhausting. They also don't allow us to hear through the connection or speak through the connection. So the third one, I want you to take your arms and just float them up. Just float them up. Just float. So just let them float up. So now the muscle is lengthened because you've let it float up, and I can keep my arms here for a lot longer, maybe not forever, but for a lot longer than I could if I was clenched or pulling in, because I have an extension of my muscles. When I connect to a partner, whether it's here or here or here, I think about floating my muscles up, not up and away from them, because I still need to connect into them. So I'm not pushing down, I'm not pulling in, I'm up and away. The second thing that I do, which I mentioned, was I think least. What is the least amount of energy it is going to take for me to get the result that I want? So if I'm here, I am thinking eccentrically, where I'm up and away. My arm is up and away. And now if I float too much, if I'm floating too much, right, that's much more energy than I need, because now I'm not connected to my partner whose hand is down here. So I relax and I just don't put as much tone into my muscle. And I think of concentric as tension and eccentric as tone, because I still have tone. It's not noodle arms. I haven't just dropped away, right? My muscle is still engaged. It's just engaged differently, which means I'm allowing a conversation to happen. So if I think least amount necessary, I can relax that tone. It doesn't have to be that much. That's my swing connection, my ballroom connection, right? So I can relax it, leader or follower. It's as relaxed as you can be, still allowing for the communication that you want to happen. Because the more tension you put in, the less you'll actually be able to have a conversation. Let's put it in these terms. If I was going to talk to somebody who's all clenched up, right? How is that conversation going to go? We've all had that conversation. We've been the one having that conversation where we're all like, right? And we've also talked to somebody who's in that mode in themselves, right? It doesn't go very well. They are locked down. So why would it be any different in dance? We all of a sudden, we're told to get a frame and we don't know what that means. There's no definition for that. So we create one of like, okay, this must be my frame. That must be connect to your partner. I don't know what that means. So we pull in. It's that clenched conversation. Don't go there. If you were to walk up to somebody and they just got done doing yoga and they're all relaxed and their muscles are, floating. Now have a conversation with that person. It's a much more interesting conversation because they're open, they can hear you, they're willing to respond. Very different from talking to the person who's all shut down and, right? So when you're dancing, it's like I said, it's the same thing. It's how we relate to another human being. So, your takeaway, 2 things, eccentric and least. If you would love more information, guess what? I would love to give it to you. So, do me a favor, post your comments and your questions below, and or just simply contact us. We would love to hear from you. Trying to think if there's anything else I wanted to share today on muscles. I'm sure there is, and I guess I will just have to address it in the next video. Thanks so much for tuning in. I look forward to seeing you on the dance floor. This is Maren with Q&A with Heart and Soul Dance.